Hello guys! Okay, so this section that we're doing now is with scale drawings and in things like that you see in architects, and you can see on this picture here, we're looking at ratio and the scale drawings. Okay, so the first number in the ratio is the distance on the diagram, and the second is how many times bigger the distance is in real life. Okay, so let's have a look at our next page. Now, one thing I want you to write down in your books right now and get used to writing this is the scale drawings. So if you have a look here, you've got kilometers, and you've got 1, 2, 3 jumps to a kilometer. You've got, from a kilometer to a meter. And then from a meter to the centimeters, you've got 2 jumps. And then from centimeters, so you've got 2 jumps. And then from centimeters to meters, you've got 1 jump. So it goes 3, 2, 1. Okay? So always write that down when you begin. It helped me to do it. So if you want to pause this and then make sure you write that down. It's going to help you heaps. Okay, so now let's have a look at what we're doing here. What we're going to do is we're going to start off, we're going to give you 5 millimeters is to 1 meter. Now, you know what the rule is. You have to bring it down to the smallest unit. And the smallest unit is the millimeters. Okay, so we just take down our 5 because it's already in millimeters, and then we use our scale to take us from a meter to millimeters, and that works out to 1,000 millimeters. And then we bring it down as low as we can go. So what goes into 5 and into 1,000? 5 does. You divide that by 5, you divide that by 5, and you can't bring that down any lower. So that is your simplest ratio. All right. Let's go on to another example. If we had to say, convert 2 millimeters to 1 meter to a scale ratio and underline the scale factor. Okay, so that is what the factor is and how many times we have to multiply to get it. So we go 2 millimeters to a meter. We always write that down. In your second line, you can leave out the units. So we've got to put our unit into millimeters. So we're going to say 2. We use can you see I did my little jumpy thing over there to see how to work it out, and it works out to 1,000, and so now we've got 1 is to 5,000, and the reason how we did that, we divided that by 2, so we divided that by 2, and we underlined our scale factor, which is what they asked us to do. Now, in the next question, they're going to say to us, write the diagram of the car. So now we're looking at a real thing. Now, you're going to get some pictures, and please ask me for them because I photocopied them, where you're going to have to measure a few things. So this diagram of the car, beautiful car that I've drawn here, uses the scale of 1 is to 80. Find the real length. So what you do is you measure it from there to there, okay, and the diagram length is 65 millimeters. So what we do is we would put the 65 millimeters over here underneath the 1, which means that we've got to multiply it by 80. Okay, so whatever the diagram length is, we've got to multiply it by 80. So we multiply 65 by 80 and we get 5,200 millimeters. And the question says, find the real length in meters. So you do the whole thing in millimeters because it's what you measured it in. And then when you get to the end, you change it to what they wanted. So they wanted meters, you change it to 5.2 meters. Okay, so you multiply it by the number of the scale and then change it to the meters. Now, one thing I want to show you and one thing I want you to be aware of is if they are asking you, find the real length. Okay, now you can think in your head, if you're finding the real length, the number is going to get much bigger. So you will always multiply. If they say find the diagram length, remember then you're going to get smaller. And therefore you must what? Divide. Okay, so always remember that. You can write that down too. And I think I've written it down here. The real length means please multiply. Okay, it gets bigger. The diagram length says divide. So always read it, okay? Read your question to see whether you need to make your number bigger or smaller. Okay, now we look at this question. It says, the height of a tower is 70 meters. How high should it be drawn on a diagram with a scale of 1:200? So we're doing a diagram, we're dividing. So we take our 70 meters and we divide it by 200. Answer in millimeters. Our answer was first of all in meters, and we change it to millimeters. Okay, so the big thing to look here is because they said it's a diagram, we divide. Okay, guys, that's all for this chapter, so go ahead and start 4.5.